Dian, 27, recounts her life as the family scapegoat, perpetually paying bills for her mother, Ibu Ratna, while her younger sister, Dewi, 24, remained unemployed and defavored. The tension escalates when Dewi announces her pregnancy with a jobless boyfriend. Instead of holding Dewi accountable, Ibu Ratna demands Dian give up her bedroom for a nursery, suggesting Dian move to an unfinished storage room. The humidity of Jakarta clung to my skin like a second, unwanted layer of clothing, heavy and suffocating, even as the sun began to dip below the horizon. I stood on the front porch of the house he paid for, fumbling with my keys. My fingers were red and indented, the circulation shut off by the plastic handles of 3 heavy grocery bags. Inside those bags was rice, cooking oil, the specific brand of spicy sambal my mother liked, and the expensive moisturizing cream my sister, Dewi, had texted me to pick up 3 times in the last hour. I took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of exhaust fumes and the frying garlic from the neighbor's kitchen, trying to still myself before crossing the threshold. This was my daily ritual, a moment of pause to construct a mask of the dutiful daughter, the provider, the reliable engine that kept this household running. He was 27 years old, a manager at a logistics firm, respected by my peers, yet here, on this cracked tile porch, he felt like a servant terrified of disappointing domestics. The key turned with a harsh clack, and he pushed the door open. A wall of sound hit me immediately, the high-pitched, melodramatic dialogue of a cinetron blaring from the television. The living room was a cool reprieve from the outside heat, thanks to the air conditioner he had installed 6 months ago. The electricity bill had doubled since then, a fact that made my stomach tighten every time he opened the banking app on my phone, but Ibu Ratna claimed the heat gave her migraines. "I'm home," he called out, though my voice was swallowed by the TV volume. There was no more response. He kicked off my heels, wincing as my feet touched the cold floor, and he hauled the groceries to the kitchen counter. From the kitchen archway, I could see them. My mother, Ibu Ratna, was sitting on the floor, a bowl of chewed fruit in her lap. Dewi, my 24-year-old sister, lay sprawled across the entire length of the sofa, her head resting on a pile of cushions, her eyes glued to her phone screen. "Did you get the cream?" Dewi asked without looking up. Her voice was light, and burdened by the fatigue that felt like lead in my bones. "It's in the bag," I said, walking into the living room, along with the dinner ingredients. "Ibu, are you cooking tonight? I have to finish a report for tomorrow morning." Ibu Ratna finally looked at me. Her face, still youthful despite her 50 years, bore the familiar expression of mild annoyance she reserved exclusively for me. "Dian, look at your sister. She's not feeling well. How can you ask me to cook when you need to attend to her?" I looked at Dewi. She looked perfectly fine, her skin glowing, her scrolling thumb moving at lightning speed. "What's wrong with her? Nausea?" Dewi sighed, finally dropping the phone to her chest. She offered me a smile that didn't reach her eyes, a smile that was equal parts smugness and secrecy. "I've been throwing up all morning. Maybe it's a martabak you ate last night," I muttered, moving to sit on the single armchair in the corner. It was the only seat left for me. "It's not the food, but Dian," Dewi sighed, emphasizing the honorific with a tone that bordered on mockery. She sat up slowly, staging the movement to look delicate. Ibu Ratna placed a bowl of fruit on the table and clapped her hands together, beaming. The shift in her demeanor was instantaneous. The annoyance vanished, replaced by a radiant warmth that he hadn't felt directed at me since. "Well, perhaps never. Tell her." "Dewi," Ibu urged, her voice trembling with excitement. Dewi smoothed her t-shirt over her flat stomach. "I'm pregnant." The air in the room seemed to freeze. The noise of the TV faded into a dull bass in my ears. I stared at my sister, unemployed, lacking any vocational skills, and entirely dependent on my income for everything from her phone credit to her skin cherry. "Pregnant," I repeated, the word tasting like ash. "With Anton?" Anton was her boyfriend of 2 years. A man whose primary ambition seemed to be modifying the exhaust pipe of his motorcycle and borrowing money just until next week. He had been unemployed for longer than Dewi had. "Yes, with Anton," Dewi snapped, her defensive instincts flaring. "Don't look at me like that. We're happy." "Happy doesn't buy diapers, Dewi," I sighed, the exhaustion finally cracking my mask. "Happy doesn't pay for hospital bills. Anton doesn't have a job. You don't have a job. Who is going to pay for this baby?" Ibu Ratna slammed her hand down on the coffee table. "Dian, watch your mouth. This is a blessing from God. A grandchild. And all you can talk about is money? You are so cold. You have always been so calculating." "You have to be calculating, Ibu." I stood up, my hands trembling. "Because I'm the one who subtracts the expenses from my salary every month. We are barely scraping by as it is. How can we afford another mouth to feed? Every child brings their own fortune, Ibu Ratna recited the old proverb, waving her hand dismissively as if that settled the matter of economics. We will manage, we are a family. We, she sighed, but we didn't mean all of you as pulling together. We meant Dian would work overtime, we meant Dian would skip lunch, we meant Dian would never have a life of her own. Dewi crossed her arms, tears welling up in her eyes, tears that appeared on command. I knew she would be like this, Ibu, she's jealous. She is jealous that you have someone who loves me and she is almost 30 and alone. The accusation struck me like a physical blow. It wasn't just the cruelty, it was the injustice. He wasn't alone because he was unlovable. He was alone because he spent my weekends freelancing for extra cash and my evenings too tired to speak. I am not jealous, he sighed quietly, my voice tight. I am terrified, for you, for the baby. We don't need your fear, Ibu Ratna sighed, standing up to stroke Dewi's hair. We need support. And we need to make arrangements. Anton is going to move in, of course. He needs to be here to help with the pregnancy. My jaw dropped. Move in? Here, Ibu. This is a two-bedroom house. Where is he going to sleep? Ibu Ratna exchanged a glance with Dewi. It was a look of conspiracy, a silent agreement reached long before he had walked through the door. It made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. That is what we needed to discuss. Ibu Ratna sighed, her tone shifting from scolding to a sickly sweet persuasion. She walked over to me, placing a hand on my rigid shoulder. Dewi needs the master bedroom. It has the attached bathroom. She will be getting bigger, and running down the hall to the shared toilet will be dangerous for her. The master bedroom was Ibu's room. Okay, he said slowly, trying to follow the logic. So you are moving into Dewi's room? No more, Ibu Ratna sighed, as if explaining something to a slow child. Dewi's room is too small for a couple and their baby crib. They need space. Andy cannot sleep in a small room with my back problems. I need my mattress. A cold pit formed in my stomach. I looked from Ibu to Dewi, and then to the closed door of my bedroom. It was a modest room, but it was my sanctuary. It was the only place in the world that was mine. He had painted the walls a soft cream, but a sturdy desk for my work, and he installed blackout curtains so he could sleep off my migraines. Ibu, he whispered, what are you saying? You are rarely home. Dian, Ibu Ratna sighed, shrugging. You leave at 6 in the morning, you come home at 8 at night. You work. You don't need a big room just to sleep. So where am I supposed to go? Ibu Ratna gestured toward the back of the kitchen. Beyond the laundry area, there was a small, unfinished room. We called it a gudang, the storage room. It had a concrete floor, a single high window with rusted bars, and it was currently filled with broken appliances, stacks of old magazines, and the boxes of winter clothes we never used. It smelled of damp cardboard and the neglect. The storage room, it choked out. You want me to live in the storage room? It just needs a little cleaning, Dewi chimed in, picking at her fingernails. Anton can paint it for you. White paint makes a room look bigger. It's private. You like privacy, right? It has no more ventilation. Dewi, is an orphan in sir. He looked at Ibu Ratna, begging silently for her to see the absurdity, the cruelty of this request. He paid the mortgage on this house. He paid for the electricity that runs this AC. He paid for the food you are eating. And you want to put me in the storage room so Anton, who contributes nothing, can live in my bedroom. It's not your bedroom anymore. Ibu Ratna sighed sharply, her sweetness evaporating instantly. It is the family's house, and the family has needs. Are you so selfish that you would deny your pregnant sister comfort? Do you want her to stress and lose the baby? Is that what you want? You want respect, he shouted, the volume of my voice startling even me. I am not a guest here. I am the head of this household in every way that matters. Don't you dare raise your voice at me. Ibu Ratna hissed, stepping closer, her eyes narrowing. You may pay the bills, Dian, but I am your mother. As long as you are under my roof, you follow my rules. And my rule is that we take care of the vulnerable. Dewi is vulnerable. You are strong. You can handle a small room. You are just making a fuss because you don't want to sacrifice. Sacrifice? He laughed, a harsh, jagged sound. My whole life is a sacrifice. Ibu, he didn't go to the university you wanted because it was too far, and you needed me close. He didn't take the job in Singapore because you said you couldn't live without me. He have given you everything, and now you counted. Ibu Ratna shook her head with exaggerated disappointment. A true child does not count their devotion to their parents. A true child gives willingly. She turned her back on me, walking back to the sofa to sit beside Dewi. It is decided. Anton comes tomorrow with his things. You should start packing your room tonight. We need to move the bed out by Saturday. I stood, sir, trembling, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. The injustice was so thick he could taste it. metallic and bitter. He looked at the closed door of my room, my clean, quiet, air-conditioned room. And then he looked at the dark, narrow hallway leading to the storage room. He walked over to the hallway and he peered into the gudang. He didn't turn on the light, but the dim glow from the kitchen illuminated the dust motes dancing in the stagnant air. A cockroach scurried across a box of old newspapers. It was a cell. It was a place you put things you didn't want to look at. You won't do it, he sighed, though my voice lacked the power he wanted it to have. What did you say? Dewi called out, sounding bored. He walked back into the living room. He sighed, you won't do it. Anton can sleep in the living room, or he can stay at his parents' house until he finds a job. I am not giving up my room. Dewi sat up straight, her eyes flashing. See, Ibu, I told you, she doesn't care about us. She hates me. I don't hate you, Dewi. I just have limits. Ibu Ratna stood up again, her face darkening with a rage that had been simmering beneath her surface for years. It was the rage of a parent who realizes their authority is tied to purse strings they do not hold, and you resents the hand that feeds them. You are being difficult, Ibu Ratna sighed coldly. We will discuss this again in the morning when you have cooled down and you remembered your place. Now, go make dinner. Dewi needs nutrition. She sat back down and turned the volume of her TV up, drowning me out. I stood there for a long minute, watching the back of their heads. They didn't look at me. They didn't acknowledge my presence. It was simply an appliance that had malfunctioned, a toaster that refused to pop. He turned and he walked in my room and he locked the door. He didn't go to the kitchen. He didn't start the lights. He sat on the edge of my bed, the silence of the room wrapping around me, and he felt the tectonic plates of my life shifting. They wanted to put me in the storage room. They wanted to bury me in the back of the house like a shameful secret while they played happy family in the comfort he bought for them. The heavy burden he had carried for 5 years suddenly fell crushing, not because of the weight but because of the realization that the people he was carrying didn't just take the weight for granted, they resented me for being the vehicle. My eyes fell on my suitcase, sitting on the top shelf of my closet, gathering dust. He hadn't used it in 3 years. Remember your place, Ibu had sighed. He looked around the room, my heart hardening into something cold, and he sat. He was beginning to realize that perhaps my place wasn't here at all, but the thought was too big, too terrifying to fully embrace just yet. Instead, he lay back on my pillows, listening to the muffled laughter from the living room, and he let the seed of rebellion take root in the darkness. The humidity in the kitchen was stifling, clinging to my skin like a wet sheet, but the suffocation he felt had nothing to do with the tropical heat and everything to do with the two women staring me down. The fluorescent tube-light above flickered with a low, irritating hum, casting a sickly pallor over the unfinished dinner on the table food he had paid for, cooked in pans he had bought, in a house whose mortgage was slowly eating me alive. It's just logical, Dian, Dewi sighed, picking at her cuticles. She didn't even look up at me. She was sitting in my usual chair, her legs propped up on the adjacent seat, claiming space with the effortless arrogance of someone who has never had to shrink themselves to fit in. I need space for the crib. I need the morning sun for the baby. Your room has the best light. The storage room has light, he sighed, my voice tight, straining to keep the tremor of exhaustion out of it. If you clean the windows, the storage room smells like mold, Ibu Ratna interjected. She was standing by the sink, rinsing a glass with agonizing slowness. She turned, wiping her hands on a rag, her face set in the familiar mask of disappointed martyrdom. Dewi cannot breathe mold spores, not in her condition. You know how delicate she is. You have work, Ibu, he pleaded, gesturing vaguely toward the hallway that led to the bedroom he had carefully curated over the last 3 years. My desk, my dual monitors, my ergonomic chair, the tools that allowed me to earn the salary that kept the lights on. He worked from home 3 days a week. I need the desk. I need the quiet. The storage room doesn't even have an outlet. So buy an extension cord, Dewi snapped, finally looking at me. Her eyes were hard, devoid of any sisterly warmth. God, you're so selfish. I'm bringing a life into this family, and you're worried about your Wi-Fi signal. I'm worried about my job. Dewi, the job that pays for the internet you're using right now. Ibu Ratna slammed the rag down on the counter. The sound cracked through the room like a whip. Do not throw money in your sister's face, Dian. It is unbecoming. Family supports family. You are an older sister. It is your duty to sacrifice. When he was your age, he slept on a floor mat so my brother could have the bed. But this isn't a floor mat, Ibu, he sighed, the frustration finally bubbling over, hot and acidic in my throat. You want me to move into a room with exposed concrete and a leaking ceiling so that we can have a nursery for our baby she didn't plan, with a boyfriend who doesn't work. The air in the room shifted instantly. It went from tense to dangerous. He saw Dewi's face flush a deep, angry red. He had touched a third rail. We were never supposed to mention that Rian was unemployed. We were never supposed to mention that this pregnancy was a result of carelessness, not planning. Dewi stood up, her chair scraping violently against the tile. At least they have a life. Dian, she spat, stepping into my personal space. She smelled of overly sweet vanilla perfume and the sweat. At least you have someone who loves me. What do you have? Your spreadsheets, your bank account. You have responsibility. I countered, standing my ground, though my knees felt like water. You have the burden of keeping this roof over our heads. Oh, stop acting like a martyr, Dewi screamed. We never asked you to be this way. You do it because you think you're better than us. You think because you pay the bills, you own us. You don't think you own you whispered, the fight suddenly draining out of me, replaced by a heavy, grey sadness. I just want to be respected. I just want my own room. Dewi laughed. It was a cool, sharp sound. Respected? You want to be respected for doing what you're supposed to do? You're the cash cow, Dian. That's it. She leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a venomous hiss. Let's be honest. If you weren't paying for everything, would you even be here? No more one wants you here anyway. The words hung in the air, suspended in the humidity. No more one wants you here anyway. It was the thing he had feared most since he was a child. The suspicion that he was merely tolerated, a utility rather than a person. To hear it spoken aloud, with such casual cruelty, felt like a physical blow to the chest. He felt the blood drain from my face. He turned slowly toward Ibu Ratna, my mother, the woman he had pursued me, who he had spent the last 5 years desperately trying to please, trying to buy affection from with utility bills and the grocery runs. He looked at her, searching for the outrage. He waited for her to scold Dewi. He waited for her to say, "That is not true. Dian is my daughter. She is lovely." Ibu Ratna met my gaze. Her eyes were dark, inscrutable. She didn't look angry at Dewi. She looked tired. She looked at me with a mixture of annoyance and resignation, as if my very presence was a chore she hadn't finished. Then she did it. She nodded. It wasn't a big movement, just a single, slow tip of her chin. A silent affirmation. A concurrence. Dewi is right. The world seemed to stop spinning. The hum of the fluorescent light faded into a high-pitched ringing in my ears. The kitchen, the smell of ordure, the humidity all blurred. The knot was more violent than a slap. It was a total erasure of my existence as a human being in this house. It confirmed the transaction. It was currency. And when the currency complained, it became a nuisance. Okay, he sighed. My voice sounded strange to my own ears. Detached, mechanical. Okay, so you'll move your stuff tomorrow? Dewi asked, sensing victory, her tone instantly brightening as if she hadn't just eviscerated me. Sure, he sighed. I'll handle the room situation. He didn't wait for dinner. He turned around and he walked down the hallway, my footsteps heavy on the cheap laminate flooring. He walked past the peeling wallpaper he had promised to replace next month. He walked into my bedroom, the room with the good light, the room that was about to be a nursery, and he closed the door. He locked it. He didn't cry. He thought he would, but the tears didn't come. Instead, a cold, crystalline clarity washed over me. It was a terrifying sensation, cold as water. He sat on the edge of my bed and he looked round. He saw the receipts he kept in a neat stack on my desk. Electricity paid, water paid, internet paid, Ibu's insulin paid, Dewi's credit card debt consolidation paid. He looked at the total, then he looked at the mirror. He saw a woman who looked 10 years older than 27. He saw a woman he had hollowed herself out to fill the cups of people who had just told her she wasn't wanted. If no more one wants me here, he thought, the logic fitting together like the gears of a clock, then he should not be here. He stood up and he pulled my suitcase from the top shelf of the closet. It was dusty. He hadn't gone on a vacation in 4 years because Ibu always said we couldn't afford it. Even though he made 3 times what my father had made before he passed. He started packing. He moved silently, like a ghost haunting my own life. He didn't pack everything. He didn't want the furniture. He didn't want the bed sheets. He wanted only what was undeniably mine. My clothes, my laptop, my documents, birth certificate, passport, degrees, the external hard drive with my portfolio. He folded my blouses with military precision. He rolled my jeans. Every debris course felt like stitching up a wound. It was pukul 1 a.m. when he finished. The house was silent. He could hear Dewi's loud snoring from the room across the hall and the rhythmic ticking of the wall clock. He sat at my desk one last time and he opened my laptop. The screen's glow was harsh in the dark room. He logged into my banking portal. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. But my hands were steady. He went to the standing orders tab. Transfer to Ibu Ratna monthly allowance. Cancel. Autopay state electric company. Cancel. Autopay city water. Cancel. Autopay internet service provider. cancel. He watched the confirmation screens pop up one by one. Are you sure? The bun asked. Yes. He clicked. Yes. 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 He transferred the remainder of the joint account, the emergency fund he had solely contributed to, into my personal savings account. It was petty, perhaps, but they had said he wasn't wanted. If he wasn't wanted, surely my dirty money wasn't wanted either. They could have the room, they could have the house, but they couldn't have the engine that ran it. He pulled out my phone and he texted Nina. Can you still crash on your couch? It happened. She disappeared instantly. Nina, the insomniac, my savior, keys under the mat. Come now, don't look back. He zipped the suitcase shut. The sound seemed deafening in the quiet house, a zipper tearing through the fabric of the family. He took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of the room lavender detergent and the old paper. He was leaving the paint he chose. He was leaving the curtains he hemmed. He unlocked the bedroom door and he stepped into the hallway. The floorboards creaked under my weight, groaning in protest. He froze, waiting for a door to open, for Ibu to step out and he asked where he was going. He waited for the guilt to stop me. He waited for the familiar voice in my head that sighed, "You can't leave them, they'll drown." But then he remembered the nod. He remembered days with which Ibu Ratna agreed that he was garbage. Let them swim, he thought. He maneuvered the suitcase to the front door, lifting it to avoid the squeaky wheel. He unlocked the front door, the deadbolt sliding back with a heavy thud. The night air outside was cooler than the house. It smelled of rain and the exhaust fumes, the perfume of Jakarta at night. He stepped out onto the porch. He took the house key off my ring. It was a brass key, worn smooth by years of use. He placed it on the small table by the door, right next to the dead-potted plant Dewi had promised to water and he never did. He didn't write a note. There was nothing left to say. The note had said it all. He walked down the driveway, the wheels of my suitcase rumbling on the pavement, growing louder as he picked up the pache. He didn't look back at that window where my mother slept. He didn't look back at the house that had consumed my 20s. He hailed a bluebird taxi at the end of the street. The driver, an older man with kind eyes, got out to help me with my bag. Leaving late? Mbak? He asked, noticing the solitary suitcase and the set of my jaw. No more, Pak, he sighed, sliding into the back seat and finally letting my head fall back against the headrest. I'm leaving early, just in time. As the taxi pulled away, merging into the sparse late-night traffic, he pulled out my phone one last time. He went to the contacts list. Ibu, block contact. Dewi, block contact. He stared at the screen until it went black. The silence in the car was different from the silence in the kitchen. It wasn't heavy. It was empty. It was a vast, terrifying, beautiful void waiting to be filled with a life that was finally, truly, mine. The silence in Dina's guest bedroom was heavy. But for the first time in my life, it wasn't oppressive. It was the silence of our vacuum, a space where no chaos of Ibu's screaming and Dewi's mocking laughter could not reach. For the first few weeks, he slept in a fetal ball, my muscles tense, waiting for a door to slam or an MTB shouted. But the only sound was the hum of the air conditioner and the distant, muffled drone of Jakarta traffic 3 floors down. He woke up on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after leaving, and he realized he hadn't checked my bank account in panic. Not once. He sat up, pushing the duvet off my legs. The morning sun filtered through Rina's curtains, painting the floor in stripes of polygold. He reached for my phone, scrolling through my banking app. There were no more withdrawals he didn't recognize. No more sudden transfers to cover a medical emergency for Dewi that turned out to be a new handbag. The number on the screen was modest, but it was entirely, irrevocably mine. You're staring at your phone like it's a lover, Rina sighed, leaning against the door frame, holding 2 mugs of coffee. The rich aroma of Arabica filled the small room, a luxury yield to deny myself to save 50,000 rupiah for the household pot. He took the mug, wrapping my hands around the ceramic warmth. I'm just watching it grow. It's weird, Lin. The money says, sir. It doesn't disappear. Rina sat on the edge of the bed, her expression softening. That's how it works for normal people. Dian, you earn it. You keep it. I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, he admitted, blowing on the steam. Like the police are going to knock on the door and they tell me I'm ungrateful. Let them knock, Rina said fiercely. You bought your freedom. The price was high, but the receipt is printed. You're done. The conversation became the foundation of the next 5 years. It didn't just work. It possessed my career. I threw myself into the corporate machinery of the logistics firm you worked for, but this time, the fuel wasn't fear of Ibu's disappointment, it was the intoxicating ambition of self-preservation. Year 2 was the turning point. He was promoted to regional manager. I remember the day vividly. My boss, Mr. Handoko, called me into his office. The room smelled of lemon polish and the leather. The air conditioner was set to a chilling 18 degrees. a stark contrast to the stifling heat of the city outside. Dian, he sighed, clasping his hands over the mahogany desk. Your numbers for the Sumatra distribution lines are aggressive. In a good way, you should waste by 15%. Inefficiency is just Alia, he sighed, my voice steady. I don't like leaks. I don't like parasites draining the resources. He wasn't talking about trucks or fuel costs. Andy perhaps he sensed the still in my tone. He nodded slowly. We're bumping your salary, substantially. Andy with the bonus structure, you're looking at a completely different tax bracket. When the first paycheck of that new bracket hit, he didn't go shopping. He opened an investment account. He studied the stock market with the same obsession he used to apply to managing Ibu's moods. He learned about mutual funds, government bonds, and the property values. He watched the numbers stack up 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. Each zero was a break in a wall he was building between myself and my past. By year 3, the corporate ladder felt too slow. The hunger in me had evolved. He didn't just want security. He wanted empire. He wanted a level of success that was undeniable. A fortress so high that the mood from my old life couldn't splash onto the windowsill. He resigned. It was a terrifying Tuesday. He stood in the lobby of the office building, a cardboard box of my belongings in my arms, watching the rain lash against the glass doors. The humidity pressed against the windows, blurring the city lights. He had no more safety net, no more family to fall back on if he failed. If he crashed, he hit the concrete. But then he remembered Dewi's voice. No more one once you hit anyway. The anger didn't burn anymore. It had crystallized into a cold, hard diamond. Watch me, he thought. Just watch me. He launched Ascendancy Logistics, a boutique supply chain consultancy. The first 6 months were brutal. He worked 18-hour days from the small one-bedroom apartment he had rented after moving out of Linas. My diet consisted of instant noodles and the sheer willpower. But every client he won, every contract he signed, was a victory that tasted sweeter than any family dinner he had ever endured. By the 5th year, the landscape of my life was unrecognizable. He sat in the plush leather chair of the notary's office, a heavy fountain pen in my hand. The room was silent, save for the scratching of the nib against the thick, legal paper. Just here, Ibu Dian, the notary sighed gently, pointing to the line. He looked at the document. Tiref Saleh. The address was in Pondok Indah, one of the most prestigious neighborhoods in Jakarta. A far cry from the cramped, stifling house where he had been asked to give up my bedroom for a baby that wasn't mine. He signed my name. The ink flowed black and permanent. Dian Prameswari. Congratulations. The notary smiled, sliding a set of heavy keys across the polished table. They jingled musically the sound of ownership. He drove south immediately. My car, a sleek, charcoal grey Mercedes SUV, glided over the asphalt. He turned off the radio so he could hear the engine's low, powerful purr. The leather steering wheel felt cool and supple under my palms. He remembered the beat-up motorbike he used to ride, the one day we would constantly borrow and he returned with an empty tank. He remembered begging Ibu for money to fix a flat tire, only Tibe told he was being difficult. He pulled into the driveway of my new home. It was a modern minimalist structure, all clean lines, white stone, and the expensive glass. It looked like a temple. He killed the engine and he stepped out. The evening air was warm, smelling of jasmine from the garden hedges and the faint, metallic scent of impending rain. He walked in the front door, the heels of my shoes clicking rhythmically on the stone path. The key turned smoothly. He pushed the door open and he stepped into the foyer. It was massive. The ceiling soared 20 feet high, adorned with a cascading crystal chandelier that caught the fading sunlight. The floors were Italian marble, cool and smooth. He walked to the center of the living room and he stopped. It was empty. He hadn't moved furniture in yet. It was just me and the space. Hello, he sighed aloud. My voice echoed back to me, clear and undistorted. Hello, hello, hello. There was no more Ibu Ratna sighing loudly in the corner to signal her displeasure. There was no more Dewi whining about her boyfriend or demanding he go to the store. There was no more crying baby. There was no more clutter, no more piled up bills on the counter, no more heavy atmosphere of resentment. He walked in the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the backyard. A swimming pool shimmered in the twilight, a rectangle of turquoise serenity. He pressed my forehead against the cool glass. The vibration of the city was out there, but in here, he was untouchable. My phone buzzed in my purse. He ignored it. He had changed my number 4 years ago, a week after a barrage of guilt-tripping texts from Ibu when she realized the money tap had truly run dry. Only my clients, my employees, and Irina had his number. He sat down right there on the marble floor, crossing my legs. He closed my eyes and he breathed in. The air in this house smelled new. It smelled of paint and the stone and the potential. He did it, he whispered, a tightness in my chest. One he hadn't realized he was still carrying, finally unspooled. He wasn't just surviving, he was thriving. He had built a kingdom out of the stones they threw at me. He stood up and he walked to the kitchen island, running my hand along the coarse countertop. It was cold and solid. In my mind, he saw the old kitchen table, scarred with scratches and sticky with spilled syrup that we never wiped up. He saw the chair he used to sit in, the one with the wobbly leg that no one ever fixed because Dian could handle it. He opened the sliding glass door and he stepped out onto the patio. The humidity wrapped around me like a blanket. He looked up at the sky, where the smog had cleared enough to reveal a few faint stars. For 5 years, he had ran a marathon at a sprint pace. He had hardened my heart, frozen my tears, and he converted my grief into equity. He was 27 when he left, a broken girl who thought her worth was tied to how much she could endure. Now, at 32, he was a force of nature. He took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the air of my own property. He felt a profound, settling peace. He was alone, yes, but for the first time in my life, he wasn't lonely. He was simply whole. He didn't know then that the silence was about to be broken. He didn't know that while he was climbing the mountain, those he left behind were tumbling down the ravine, and that they would soon look up to see my silhouette against the sun. But in that moment, standing by my pool in the quiet hum of the Jakarta evening, he was the phoenix, and he had finally finished rising. The vibration of my phone against the mahogany desk was a harsh intrusion into the sanctuary he had built. My office, perched on the 32nd floor of a skyscraper in Jakarta's central business district, was usually a fortress of silence and the cool, conditioned air. Outside, the city was a chaotic smear of grey smoke and gridlock, but inside, everything was crisp, white, and ordered. He stared at the screen. The name flashing was Tantewati. She was the only thread he hadn't severed. A neighbor from the old block, a woman who had once slipped me plates of fried rice when my mother forgot to save dinner for me. He had kept her number for emergencies, though he rarely answered. Today, a strange, magnetic pull forced my hand. He tapped the green icon and he brought the phone to my ear. Hello, Tante? My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, too polished, too calm. Dian? Oh, Alhamdulillah. You answered. Wati's voice was breathless, competing with the roar of a motorbike in the background. He didn't know if you would. You know you said not to call unless it was life or death. Is someone dead? He asked. The question came out with a frightening lack of emotion. He waited for the pang of fear, but it didn't come. He felt only the cold glass of the window against my forehead as he looked down at the miniature cast below. No more. Not dead. Wati sighed, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, but buried. Dian, your mother. The house is gone. He didn't blink. Gone? Bank seized it 3 days ago. But it wasn't just a bank. It was the Rentenir cologne shops. I'm watching them load the last of the plastic chairs onto a pickup truck right now. It's a spectacle, Dian. The whole neighborhood is watching. He closed my eyes, and despite the 5 years and the miles between us, he was instantly transported back to the humid, suffocating street. He could smell the cough cigarettes and the open drains. He could feel the sticky heat. Tell me, he whispered. It was a dark impulse, light slowing down to look at a car crash. He needed to know the physics of their collapse. Start from the beginning. How did it get this bad? Wati sighed, the sound crackling with static. It started right after you left, really, but the crash happened 6 months ago. You remember the boy, Rizky, Dewi's prince, the one with the modified sedan and the nomor job? Yes, he's gone. Dian vanished into the wind. His wife lit my leather chair away from the window, facing the empty, pristine office. He left her. Leaving would have been polite, Wati scoffed. He ran. It was right after Dewi gave birth to the second one. A boy. You didn't know? Yes, 2 children now. The first one, little Tiara, is 4, and the baby is 6 months. Rizky realizes there was no more money coming in. He thought your mother was sitting on a gold mine, but when the roof started leaking, and Buratna couldn't pay for his cigarettes anymore, he packed his bags while Dewi was sleeping. Dewi must have taken them well, he sighed dryly. She screamed for 2 days straight, Wati reported, her tone a mix of pity and judgment. She stood in the front yard, holding the baby, screaming his name until her voice gave out. She smashed the windshield of a neighbor's car, thinking it was his. It was humiliating, Dian. Ibu Ratna tried to hush her, but Dewi, she's not used to being told no, is she? She blamed your mother for driving him away. Said the house wasn't nice enough, that they were too poor. He felt a phantom ache in my chest, not of sympathy, but of memory. No more one wants you here. That was what Dewi had said to me. Now, the person she wanted most had proven her life. But about herself. And Ibu, he asked, how did she handle the finances without the extra income? Badly, Wati said. She refused to downgrade. You know Ratna, she has the baby queen of the Arisan. She kept hosting the social gatherings, buying cakes she couldn't afford, wearing gold that wasn't hers. She took loans, Dian, first from the bank, using the house certificate. Then, when the bank stopped giving, she went to the online lenders. Tapinjol, and finally, the thugs. He gripped the phone tighter. The spiral was predictable, mathematical in its cruelty. Without my salary covering the mortgage, the electricity, the endless demands for new clothes and the gadgets, the math had simply caught up with them. The debt collectors started coming 2 months ago. Wati continued. Rockman, they banged on the gate at hours. They spray painted pay your debts on the white fence in red paint. Ibu Ratna tried to scrape it off, but the stain stayed. She sold everything. Dian, the television, the jewelry, even the antique furniture from your grandmother. The house was empty before Boban even took it. Where are they going? He asked. That's why he called. It's bad, Dian. They are moving to the Petal Blocks down near the river. You know the place? Behind the old market. My stomach turned. He knew the place. It was a cluster of illegal, semi-permanent tenements built over a stagnant canal. It was a place of corrugated iron roofs, shared bathrooms for 20 families, and the rats the size of cats. It was a place people went when they had fallen off the edge of the world. Pahaji's old rentos. Worse, the ones behind that. One room. Dian, for Ibu Ratna, Dewi, and the screaming children. No more air conditioning. No more proper ventilation, just a concrete box. There was a long silence on the line. He looked down at my hands. They were manicured, soft, holding a device that cost more than my mother's yearly food budget used to be. Did they ask about me? He asked, the question slipping out before he could stop it. Every day, Wati admitted softly. At first, they were angry. They cursed you, called you ungrateful, a rebellious child who abandoned her duty. Ibu Ratna told everyone who would listen that you were dead to her. But when the electricity got shut off the first time, the anger turned to desperation. They started asking if anyone had seen you. Dewi tried to find your social media, but you're a ghost. They have no more idea you're in the city. They think maybe you went abroad as a maid. Let them think that, he sighed sharply. You haven't told them anything, Wati assured me quickly. But watching them today, it's hard, Dian. Dewi was sitting on a cardboard box on the sidewalk, nursing the baby, wearing a faded duster that had holes in it. She looked 10 years older. Her skin is gray, her eyes are hollow. And the Ibu Ratna, she looked small. She was yelling at the movers, trying to order them around like she was still the mistress of the house, but she was crying. She was holding a plastic bag with her clothes in it, clutching it like it was diamonds. I leaned back, closing my eyes again, forcing myself to construct the image. He needed to see it. He needed to see the bedroom he had sacrificed, the room Ibu Ratna had kicked me out of so Dewi's first mistake could have a nursery being stripped bare. Did they tear the crib? He asked. The band took everything left inside. They left with just clothes and a few cooking pots. They took and anchored a public minibus to the new place. Dewi refused to get on at first. She made a scene, crying that she couldn't bring a baby onto a dirty bus. Ibu Ratna had to slap her. First time he ever saw Ratna hit the girl, she dragged her onto the bus by her wrist. A slap. Decades too late, but a step nonetheless. Dian, Wati's voice was tentative. Do you want their new address? Just in case. No more. The refusal was instant. I don't want it. If you give it to me, he might be tempted to send money. And he can do that, Tante. He won't. If he pull them out of that hole, they will just drag me in with them. He understand, Wati sighed, though she sounded sad. I just thought you should know. That wheel turns, Neng. It turns slow, but it turns. Thank you, Tante. Please, don't tell them you spoke to me. Don't give them hope. You won't. Take care of yourself, Dian. The call ended. The silence of my office rushed back in, but it felt different now. Heavier. He stood up and he walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. The sun was setting over Jakarta, painting the smargin hues of bruised purple and the burnt orange. Somewhere down there, in the labyrinth of narrow alleys and the open sewers, my mother and the sister were entering a concrete box that smelled of mold and the dampers. Imagine the heat, the stifling, wet heat of a Jakarta evening without AC. Imagine Dewi, the golden child, sitting on a thin mattress on the floor, the baby crying from the humidity, the 4-year-old whining for a snack they didn't have. Imagine the shock of the cold water in the communal bathroom, the indignity of waiting in line with strangers to bathe, and the Ibu Ratna, the woman he had looked at me with such disdain when he asked for help with tuition, who had told me my only purpose was to serve the family. She would be sitting in the corner of the cramped room, surrounded by the wreckage of her own choices. She would be sweating, fanning herself with a piece of cardboard, staring at the peeling paint on the walls, wondering where the money went. They were drowning. I placed my hand against the cool glass. A knot of guilt tightened in my stomach. The condition reflects if our daughter raised to be a sacrifice. It whispered that he could fix this. He could write a check right now that would buy them a house, a car, a future. It would be nothing to me. A rounding error in my bank account. But then he remembered the day he left. He remembered the smirk on Dewi's face as she moved her clothes into my room. He remembered Ibu Ratna checking her nails, not even looking at me as he dragged my suitcase out the door. No more one wants you here. They didn't want me. They wanted the resource he provided. And now that the resource was gone, they were consuming themselves. I am not the savior, he whispered to the empty room. My voice was steady. I am the survivor. He turned away from the window and the city below. He walked back to my desk, sat down, and he opened my laptop. The glow of the screen illuminated my face, erasing the shadows of the past. He had a meeting in the morning. He had investments to review. He had a life that belonged, wholly and completely, to me. But as he began to type, a shiver ran up my spine. The downfall was absolute, but desperate people were dangerous people. They were in the dark now, but if they ever saw a glimmer of my light, they would come for it like moths to a flame. He pushed the thought away. They were in the slums, and he was in the sky. So there was no more way up, or so he told myself. Peeling at the handles, she looked smaller than he remembered. Her posture hunched, her hair streaked with far more gray than black. Her batik blouse was faded, worn too many times, the fabric thinning at the elbows. Next to her was Dewi. My breath hitched just for a second. The golden child, a princess who needed my room for her baby, the sister who had smirked as he dragged my suitcase out the door. She looked exhausted. The spark of arrogance in her eyes had been dulled by reality. She wore a shapeless dress that did nothing to hide the slump of her shoulders, and her face was bare of makeup, revealing dark circles that spoke of sleepless nights and the endless stress. They looked out of place against the minimalist art and the sprawling view of the city skyline. They looked like a mouse in a sterile laboratory. Ibu Ratna saw me first. Her eyes widened, scanning me from my Italian heels to my face. She stood up quickly, her movements jerky. "Dian," she sighed, her voice cracking. She took a step forward, arms opening instinctively, then faltered when he didn't move. "Maser," he sighed. He didn't offer a hug. He didn't offer a smile. He gestured to the seats across from them. "Please, sit." He took the armchair up to the sofa, crossing my legs. The distance between us was only a matter of coffee table, but it felt like an ocean. "You look healthy," Ibu Ratna sighed, her hands fidgeting in her lap. She was trying to smile, but it was a grimace, trembling at the corners. "We have missed you so much, Nat. Every day. Have you?" he asked, my tone conversational, void of emotion. He looked at Dewi. "And you? Dewi, have you missed me?" Dewi wouldn't meet my eyes. She was looking around the room, her gaze hungry. She took in the heavy glass door, the passing staff in their smart suits, the sheer scale of the operation. "This is your office?" she asked, her voice raspy. "I run the creative division," he replied. "It's been a busy few years. We didn't know how to find you." Ibu Ratna continued, the narrative already shifting to victimhood. "You changed your number. You disappeared. Amazir worries. Dian, you can't imagine the worry. Imagine you had your hands full." He sighed, glancing at Dewi. "How is the baby? The one you needed my room for?" Dewi flinched. "He's 5 now. And there's another one. A girl. The children," he noted. "That must be expensive." The air in the room shifted. The pleasantries were evaporating, burned away by the heat of their desperation. He could smell it on them, a distinct scent of stale sweat and the anxiety, masked poorly by cheap floral perfume. It was the smell of unpaid bills and the final notices. "It has been difficult," Ibu Ratna admitted, her voice dropping to a whisper. She leaned forward, her eyes locking onto the gold watch on my wrist. It was a subtle piece, but to someone drowning in debt, it must have shone like a lighthouse. Dewi's partner. He left last year. He sighed. He felt nothing. No more vindication, no more pity, just a cold observation of cause and the effect. "He left us with nothing." "Dian," Dewi spoke up suddenly, a flash of her old petulance surfacing. "He took the savings. He left the desk. We had to sell the house." The words hung in the air. The house where he had scrubbed floors. The house where he had paid the electricity bills while Dewi went to the cinema. The house where he was told he wasn't wanted. "That is unfortunate," he sighed. Ibu Ratna's face crumpled. She wasn't getting the emotional reaction she wanted. She switched tactics, reaching across the table to try and touch my hand. He pulled back smoothly, picking up a bottle of mineral water to pour myself a glass. "We are living in a small flat now," Ratna sighed, tears welling up in her eyes. In East Jakarta, it leaks when it rains. The neighborhood is not safe. The children, they have no more space to play. She paused, waiting for me to jump in, to offer a solution. It took a sip of water. It was cool and crisp. Why are you here, Ibu? He asked, setting the glass down. You didn't come all this way, past security, just to tell me about the weather in East Jakarta. Dewi looked at her mother, then back at me. Her gaze hardened. She was looking at me, but she wasn't seeing her sister. She was seeing a resource. She was seeing ANATM. We are a family. Dian, Dewi sighed. Family helps each other. We heard, Sari said you were doing well, but we didn't know it was this well. She gestured vaguely at the office around US. You have all this space, all this money. Andy, we are drowning. Ibu Ratna sobbed, the dam finally breaking. Dian, please, just until we get back on our feet. The debts, the collectors are calling every day. We don't have enough for school fees. Sometimes we don't have enough for rice. The irony tasted metallic in my mouth. 5 years ago, he had offered to pay the bills if they just treated me with respect. They had chosen the bills and the disrespect, until he removed the funding. Now, the bill had come due. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. He lied, checking my watch. I can't stay long. Dian, look at you, Ibu Ratna pleaded, ignoring my dismissal. You are a queen here. Surely, for your own mother, for your nieces and nephews, you can spare something. We need to move. The apartment is unlivable. If you could just help us with a deposit. Or maybe, she trailed off, her eyes darting to the glass walls again. He knew what she was thinking. She was wondering if he had a spare room, or a spare apartment. You want money, he stated fairly. We need help, Ratna corrected, her voice trembling. We are your blood. He stood up. The movement was sudden, and they both flinched. Come with me. I'll walk you out. Walk US out? Dewi asked, panic rising in her voice. But we just got here. We haven't settled anything. There is nothing to settle, he sighed, walking toward the door. He didn't look back to see if they were following. He knew they would. They were tethered to me now by the gravity of my wells. We walked down the corridor to the elevators. My staff nodded respectfully as he passed. Good afternoon, Budian. He'd added the files, Budian. He saw Dewi watching these interactions, her jaw tight. She was realizing the gap between US wasn't just financial, it was social. He commanded respect. She demanded pity. When the elevator doors opened, he ushered them in and he pressed the button for the lobby. The descent was silent. He watched the numbers tick down 40, 30, 20. With every floor, the pressure in the small metal box grew. Dian, Ibu Ratna tried again, her voice desperate. Please, don't be cruel. I know we had our differences, but you are my daughter. Differences, he repeated softly, testing the word. It felt too light, too inconsequential for the crater they had left in my chest. The doors pinged open at the lobby. He led them toward the main entrance. My driver, Pak Budi, was waiting at the curb with the car asleep. Black European sedan with tinted windows and the leather seats that smelled of vanilla. He saw me approaching and he immediately stepped out, opening the rear door. Ready to go, Ibu Dian? He asked with a smile. Ibu Ratna and Dewi stopped dead on the sidewalk. The heat of the city was at US, humid and heavy, clashing with the cool air clinging to my clothes. They stared at the cat. It was worth more than the house they had lost. It was a gleaming, undeniable monument to everything he had achieved without them. Dewi's mouth fell open slightly. The faint politeness, the family angle, it all shattered. Her face twisted not in happiness for my success, but in narrow, naked avarice. It was the glimmer of gold reflecting in her eyes, blinding her to everything else. My God, Ratna whispered, her hand going to her mouth. Dian, is this yours? The company provides it, he sighed, which was technically true. Though he owned the company, he saw the calculation happening in real time. Ibu Ratna wasn't seeing a car. She was seeing a way out. She was seeing pay debts, no clothes, a return to the comfort she felt entitled to. She reached out, her fingers brushing the sleeve of my blazer, gripping the fabric tight. Dian, she sighed, and this time, a pleading was frantic. You have so much, so much. You cannot leave US in the dirt while you ride in this. It's a sin. It's a sin to abandon your family when you live like a king. We can't go back to that apartment, Dewi added, stepping closer, invading my personal space. Her voice rose, shrill and demanding. Do you hear me? We can't. You have to help US. You have to. He looked at Dewi's hand, hovering as if she wanted to grab me, to shake the money out of my pockets. He looked at my mother, who was weeping openly now, creating a scene as fast we glanced over. They didn't see me. They didn't see the woman who had worked 18-hour days, They didn't see the lonely nights or the panic attacks she had overcome. They only saw the gold. And they wanted to scrape it off my skin. Pak Budi, he said calmly, turning to my driver. Please wait a moment. He turned back to them, the humidity causing a sweaty breakout on their foreheads. While he remained cool, the bitterness rose in my throat. I quit Andy awed, but he swallowed it down. He wouldn't give them my anger. Not yet. You speak of sin, he said to my mother, my voice low enough that only she could hear. You speak of family. Yes, she sobbed, nodding vigorously, thinking she had broken through. Yes, not family. You remember what family meant in the house, he said. He remembered it very clearly. He looked at the open door of the luxury car, then back to the grimy street where they stood. The contrast was a physical blow. You should go home, he said. Home? Dewi laughed. A hysterical, jagged sound. We don't have a home, Dian. That's the point. You have everything. And we have nothing. We have what he built. He corrected her. Give us some money, Dewi demanded, her hand finally grabbing my arm. Her grip was tight, desperate. Just give us cash. Now, you have it in your purse. I know you do. He looked down at her hand on my silk sleeve. It was a violation. Let go, he said. My voice wasn't loud, but it had the still of the boardroom in it. Dewi faltered, her grip loosening. We are leaving, Ibu Ratna declared, wiping her face. Her eyes hard and beady now. The pitiful old woman mask was slipping, revealing the tyrant underneath. We are leaving until you help us. We are your responsibility. He looked at them, truly looked at them, and he realized that the fear he had felt 5 years ago, the fear of their disapproval, the fear of their rejection, was completely gone. All that remained was a profound, exhausting disappointment. You're right, he sighed, a strange calm settling over me. We have things to discuss. Their faces lit up with hope, the terrifying, greedy hope of parasites finding a new host. They thought they had won. They thought the glimmer of gold was a promise. Come back tomorrow, he lied, though he knew he would handle this, finally, once and for all. Not here, you don't want a scene at my workplace. Tomorrow, Ratna asked, suspicious. Tomorrow, he sighed. Now, let go of my arm, Dewi. Before he called security, Dewi pulled her hand back as if burned. He stepped into the cool, vanilla-scented interior of the car. Pak Budi closed the heavy door with a solid thud, sealing out the heat, the noise, and the two women standing on the curb. Through the tinted glass, he watched them. They didn't breathe. They stood staring at the car, their faces twisted with a mixture of relief and ravenous hunger. As the car pulled away, merging into the chaotic Jakarta traffic, he didn't look back. He knew they would be there tomorrow. They had tasted the possibility of salvation, but they had forgotten the gold is gold, and the unforgiving. He leaned my head back against the seat and he closed my eyes. The bitterness was still there, but tomorrow, he would spit it out. The polished mahogany conference table stretched out between us like a vast, insurmountable ocean. It was cold to the touch, grounding me, a physical reminder of the life he had built, solid, expensive, and meticulously maintained. Across from me, sitting in the ergonomic leather chairs that cost more than the motorcycle he used to ride in my first job, sat my best, Ibu Ratna and Dewi, my mother and sister. The air conditioning in my office hummed a low, steady note, a stark contrast to the stifling heat of the cramped living room he had fled 5 years ago. He watched Ibu's eyes dart around the room. She wasn't looking at me. She was calculating. Her gaze lingered on the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Jakarta skyline, then dropped to the diamond studs in my ears, and he finally rested on the sleek, unopened MacBook Pro before me. It was a look of hunger, one he recognized from years of watching her budget my salary while spoiling Dewi. It is very cold in here, Dian, Ibu sighed, breaking the silence. Her voice trembled, a practiced vibrato she used whenever she wanted sympathy. She pulled her faded batik shawl tighter around her shoulders. You always did like it cold. It preserves the equipment, he sighed flatly. My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, calm, professional, detached. It was the voice used for difficult clients, not for the woman who gave birth to me. You didn't come all this way to discuss the thermostat, Ibu. Dewi shifted in her seat. She looked older than her 25 years. The stress of single motherhood and the financial ruin had etched fine lines around her mouth, though her expression retained the familiar, petulant pout. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Instead, she picked a loose thread on the armrest of the chair. We came because we missed you, Ibu sighed, leaning forward. She reached across the table, her hand hovering in the air, waiting for me to take it. It didn't move. It kept my hands folded in my lap, out of sight. Slowly, she withdrew, resting her palm on the mahogany instead. 5 years, Dian. Not a call, not a letter. How could a door do that to her family? I felt a phantom ache in my chest, a ghost of the girl who used to cry herself to sleep wanting nothing more than the approval. But the girl was gone. It was necessary, he replied. For my peace. Peace? Dewi scoffed, finally looking up. Her eyes flashed with that odd, sharp jealousy. You call this peace? Living in a tower while your family drowns. We heard about your company. Cousin Arif couldn't stop talking about how hey and mighty you are now. While we are losing the house. Mbak said it was. The hoop, the house, he repeated. The house he paid the mortgage on for 6 years. The one he renovated with my bonuses. The bank is coming. Dian, Ibu interrupted, tears instantly pulling in her eyes. It was a performance he had seen 1,000 times. Dewi's baby, little Budi, he needs a roof over his head. The dead quarters, they bang on the door at all hours. We are terrified, we are a family. You can't let us end up on the street. He watched a single tear roll down her cheek. It stopped at her jawline, suspended. How much? He asked. Dewi sat up straighter, sensing victory. 200 million rupiah would clear barriers and the immediate debts. Andy, well, we saw the apartment listing for the complex next to this building. If you could just sign a lease for us, just until we get back on our feet. He let the silence stretch. He picked up my glass of water, watching the condensation slide down the crystal, and he took a slow sip. The coolness soothed the burning in my throat. So, you want me to pay off the debts you accrued after he left? And you want me to house you? He summarized. We want to be together again. Ibu pleaded. We want to be our family. You have so much now. Dian, look at this place. You have more than enough. God has blessed you. You must share your blessings. He set the glass down with a soft clink. Do you remember the night he left? He asked softly. Ibu blinked. The sudden shift in topic throwing her off script. That was a misunderstanding. We were all stressed. Dewi was pregnant. Hormones were flying. Do you remember what you said? Dewi. He turned my gaze to my sister. Dewi crossed her arms. He said a lot of things. He was 22 and scared. You said, no one wants you here. He quoted, the words tasting like ash and the iron in my mouth. You stood in the doorway of the room he paid for, the room he was being kicked out of to make space for your choices. And you looked me in the eye and said, no one wants you here. Just go. Dewi looked away, her jaw tightening. And you, Ibu? He turned to my mother. Do you remember what you did? Dian, please, let's not dwell on the past, Ibu whispered, waving her hand as if to swat away a fly. We were emotional. You nodded, he said, my voice hardening, rising just enough to fill the room with absolute authority. He looked at you, begging with my eyes for you to defend me. To tell her that you was your daughter, that I belonged. And you looked at Dewi. Then back at me. And you nodded. You confirmed it. You agreed. Never you did. It shoot her off. You confirmed that he was only a resource to you. A wallet. A servant. And when he became inconvenient, when my space was needed for the favorite child, he was discarded. He stood up. The leather chair rolled back silently. Standing, he towered over them. The power dynamic was undeniable. He wasn't the hunched, exhausted girl carrying groceries anymore. He was the CEO of my own life. I have spent 5 years rebuilding myself from the rubble you left me in. He sighed, pacing slowly toward the window. He looked out at the city, the traffic below moving like blood through veins. He learned that my worth is not tied to how much suffering he can endure for people who do and love me. We do love you, Ibu cried out, standing up and reaching for me again. Dian, you are my firstborn. He turned to face them, my expression stone cold. You love what he can provide. That is not the same thing, so you're going to punish us. Dewi spat, her veneer of politeness cracking. You're going to let your nephew starve because of a grudge. You're selfish, Dian. You've always been selfish. Look at you, hoarding all this money while stop. The word was quiet, but it carried the weight of a gavel. I am not punishing you, he said. I am simply honoring your wishes. Ibu looked confused. What? You said no more one wanted me, sir. You made it clear he was not part of the family unit you valued. He accepted it. He moved on. He created a life where the AM wanted. He walked back to the table and he pressed the intercom button on the console. Security, please escort my guests out. Ibu's face went pale, her color draining away instantly. Dian, no more. You can't. The dead quarters. You are resourceful, Ibu. He sighed. You survived before he started working. You will figure it out now. Or you won't. But that is not my burden to carry. You ungrateful child. Ibu shrieked, the mask falling completely now. Her face twisted into the ugly snarl you remember from my childhood. After everything he sacrificed for you, he gave you life. And he gave you 5 years of my adulthood, my savings, and my sanity. We are even. The heavy glass doors of the conference room opened. 2 security guards in that suit stepped in, their expressions professional and impassive. Dian, Please. Dewi's voice cracked, desperation finally breaking through her arrogance. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry, he sighed. Just give you as something. Anything. He looked at my sister, really looked at her. He searched for any genuine affection, any sign that she saw me as a human being and did not ANATM. He saw only fear for her own comfort. The answer is no more. He sighed. No more money. No more apartment. No more contact. He cursed you. Ibu screamed as the cat gently but firmly took her elbow. You will die alone. You will rot in this glass tower with your money, and no more one will care. The words hung in the air, violent and toxic. 5 years ago, they would have shattered me. They would have made me open my wallet just to make the screaming stop. Now, it just felt a profound sense of relief. You would rather be alone in peace, he sighed, my voice steady, than together in hell. They were ushered out. Ibu was shouting, her voice echoing in the hallway until the heavy soundproofing of the door sealed the room once more. Silence rushed back in. I stood there for a long time, listening to the hum of the AC. My heart was beating fast, a frantic rhythm against my ribs, but my hands were steady. He looked down at the mahogany table. It was empty. No more expectations. No more guilt. He walked over to the window and pressed my forehead against the cool glass. Below, the world kept moving. The sun was beginning to set, casting long, golden shadows across the city. It was beautiful. He took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the filtered, expansive air of my sanctuary. No more, he whispered to the empty room. It was the most beautiful word he had ever spoken. He turned back to my desk, sat down, and he opened my laptop. He had work to do, and for the first time in my life, every ounce of my effort belonged entirely to me.